Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today's Hukamnama is from Ang 635 of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Surat Mahala Pela Tituki. It's a long hukam today, and I'm only going to focus really on the first part of it. It's a powerful hukam in it. You know, Guru Nanak is really challenging us in this hukam to get past dualistic thinking. And the Gurmukhi uses the word dharam and pun and words we see in other parts of Gurbani that are, you know, indicating what we should do. We should act virtuous. We should practice dharma. But in this hukam, the Guru is trying to get us out of our thinking about virtue and out of our thinking about spiritual action, and trying to explain to us that the thing we're looking for is beyond the mind. We're looking for a very non-dualistic experience that just comes from experiencing the essence of our own being, from the deep truth that lives within us and is beyond all of these categories that the mind creates. So the first half of the hukam is really painting this picture of how dualistic thinking, even when it comes to spirituality, is a block and trap of Maya. And then in the second half of the hukam, the Guru talks about that it's through doing the service, by doing the seva of the Guru, that we can get out of that trap and into the experience of the Nam. So the first line goes, Asa mansa bandhani pai, karam taram bandhakari. And asa is, you know, what we wish for, what we hope for. Mansa, very similar, what our longing is, what our desire is. And he says, look, these experiences of longing and wishing for something, they imprison us, they trap us. Having any longing, any desire, any hope, any wish becomes a trap. And karam dharam bandhakari, it's hard in some ways to read this hukam, because the Guru is saying, listen, this play of karma and dharma is something that traps you too. I mean, we long to get out of karma, we long to escape the Maya. We can get very hopeful and wishful in thinking about dharma, and even that becomes a trap. Pap pun jagajaya bai vinasan nama visari. So in this next line, Guru Nanak is saying that pap, which is often gets translated as sin, I prefer to translate it more as the actions that you do that harm others or that harm yourself, and pun, which is more the actions that create harmony. That it's because of both of these energies, he's saying, that we are brought into the world. So again, it's very confrontational to read this. That, you know, okay, pop, maybe that's a cause of coming into the world, but pun, virtue, I mean, you're saying that virtue is also part of it. And again, what he's doing is he's setting up that we have, in our mind, we create polarity. In our mind, we create duality. And it's because the mind creates the duality of pap and pun. The mind creates the duality of karam and dharam. That is the force that keeps bringing us back into the cycle of death and rebirth. And he says this, in this line, binasan nama visari, that you forget the nam, and in forgetting the nam, this destroys you. Now, it's a really powerful line, because when we translate Nam as name, we get an idea in our head, the name of God, it's Hari or Waheguru or Ram or Allah, or, you know, there's so many names out there. But in this Shabad, clearly Guru Nanak is using Nam as an experience that transcends the dualistic thinking of the mind. So Nam is that identity within you that is pure, that is one with God, and that has nothing to do with the mind, the play of the mind, and the way the mind creates the polarity. So when we forget that pure identity within us, we get caught in this play and it kills us. And he says in the next line that this Maya is so, it's so attractive, and we get so attached to this world. And again, the world is the play of the polarities, the play of duality. And when we're caught in that fascination of the whole dualistic conceptual reality, everything we do has no effect or has a negative effect. So he's going to set up, kind of something that will come a little bit later on in the Shabad. But it's a powerful thing that he's saying that everything, if you are fascinated and entrapped and enraptured by the play, whatever you do is either coming to nothing or it's negative for you. And he says in the next line, listen, Pundit, all you're doing is creating trouble. When you the thing that you're trying to get to, jitta kadam sukh upajaya bai, su atma tata bichari. He's saying the greatest peace, the greatest action that you can take to achieve your own peace is to have bichar, the dialogue, tat atam, with the essence of your own soul. So anything you're doing that's kind of outward, that's in the polarity of ritualistic or spirituality in a ritualistic way, that's caught in the duality of pap and pun, of kadam and daram, that's not the way you're going to find peace. The highest thing you can do, the highest action you can take to find peace, is to just talk to the very essence of your own soul. And the Rahal comes after that line. So this is how we know in the Hukam that this is the heart of what the Hukam is saying, is speak to your own soul, speak to the essence of you, and that is how you find peace. The next line, Shasht Bed Bake Karo Bai, Karam Karo Sansari. So he's again talking to the pundit that you can stand and you can talk about the Shastras and the Vedas. But all of these actions are just bringing you further and further into the experience of the world. They're not liberating you, they're actually bringing you kind of deeper into the problem that you're trying to get out of. And after that, Pakanda Melana Chukai Bai, Antar Mela Vikari. So again, this imagery that Guru Nanak uses often about the dirt, that when we're coming from dualistic action and thinking, it creates a layer of dirt in our mind that blocks us from seeing the divine in ourselves and the divine in others. And basically in this line he's saying that this spiritual kind of pretense, of getting up and talking about the Vedas but not having ever talked to your own soul, basically, this creates, a dirt that gets accumulated and it never stops. And then this dirt kind of comes to live inside of us, and it causes us to actually act badly. So the spiritual hypocrisy or the spiritual pretense that comes from talking about things when you've never actually talked to your own inner being is, a trap, and it's inside of us, and it creates the negative action. It causes us to act in a bad way, or in a way that doesn't kind of get us to what we want to experience, which is the peace and essence of the divine. And he has this amazingly beautiful analogy of what we're doing when we're trapped in this spiritual pretense. And he talks about in this next line, in this way, what we're like is a spider who is kind of And the image is that by the weight of its own head, it has gone face down and drowned in its own web. So the way that we think and have concepts becomes this weight, and the spider, by kind of getting so big and fat in its own thinking or engorging itself in its own thoughts, boom, that the weight of its own head causes it to fall face down into that, by its own weight, into the web and get caught there. In the next line, Dormatkani Viguti Bai Duja Bai Kwai. And sorry, my pronunciation is what it is. It's terrible, and I keep working on it. But Durmat, is a sort of an antonym of Gurmat. Okay, so there are these two words in Gurbani, Durmat and Gurmat. Gurmat is when Mat is the intellect. Mat is the way that your mind is kind of constructing reality. When the intellect is with the Guru, is based on what the Guru teaches, that's what we talk about with Gurmat. But Durmat is kind of the opposite of that. It's when your thinking is basically based on you and your own thinking and kind of a wrong understanding. And Gani is a density. So by having this sort of dense, wrong understanding, Viguti, it spoils, you become spoiled, kind of like a fruit becomes spoiled. You're a creature of nature, and getting lost in the density of wrong understanding, it spoils you. You go rotten. And what happens is then that you are misled in this experience of loving the duality. And this kind of provokes so many powerful images for me, because the last 2,000 years have really been about the religion trying to take a role of saying we're right and somebody's wrong. And because we're right, you have to do what I tell you to do. And because we're right, you have to give money to me. And because we're right, you have to engage in the wars that we tell you to. And it's one of the reasons why so many people, especially young people, get turned off to religion, because religion has been engaged in what Guru Nanak is talking about here, which is this spiritual pretense that actually doesn't lead anywhere and misleads us completely. And what you see a lot sometimes with this people who are very caught in a pretentious understanding of spirituality but have never talked to themselves is that they love the fact that there's right and wrong, because they've placed themselves so squarely on the side of right that they don't want to get out of the way of thinking of things that there's right and wrong, because, hey, I'm right, so why would I give up thinking that it's right or wrong? But what the Guru is saying here is that, it's wrong understanding, and it actually misleads you when you love that dualistic play. So, now in the Hukam, he's going to start to talk about after this line here, he's going to start saying what will pull us out of our dualistic consciousness and into the experience of the Nam, which is beyond duality. And he says in the next line, Bin Satguru Namanapaya Bai, Bin Name Paramanajai. So he's saying, look, without the Satguru, you're never going to experience that pure identity within you. And without the pure identity within you, your doubt is not going to go. And the doubt is a natural byproduct of the mind constantly playing with the polarities. Do you know what I'm saying? The mind creates these polarities and then plays between the two of them and doesn't know which way to go, and that's doubt. And the Guru is saying that when you experience the Nam through the Guru, it pulls you out of that play of the mind. So, in the next line, Guru Nanak is saying that by doing the service of the Guru, you experience peace, and your comings and goings in the world will end. And there's another beautiful line in this hukam. They're all beautiful, of course, but Sach sahaj gurate upaja bai mananirmul sacha samai. So it's through the Guru that you experience such. Now, we translate such as truth. Whenever I see the word such, I always go back to Japji Sahib and Sachkhand and the description of Sachkhand, because it's very important that Guru Nanak, in his very first composition, anchored the word Sach in a very kind of clear, definitive image. And Sachkhand vise nirinkar kartakarta veka nadarinahal. Sachkhand is the place where the formless one dwells, watches all of the plays of the universe, and enjoys it all. In Sachkhand, the formless one accepts and enjoys the whole creation, the light and the shadow, because it's all come from that one. It's all come from the one. So when this line is saying Sach Sahaj, it's saying that through the Guru, Sach Sahaj Gurute Upaja, through the Guru, you can get into this experience of flowing with the vision that the formless one has, which is that, hey, the light and the shadow are all part of my world, so we can make that light and shadow all part of our world too. And it creates a tremendous ease. You know, we're not fighting with things, we're not taking a side, we're not setting up opposition and polarity when we're in that Sach Sahaj. And then when we're experiencing that through the Guru, so by doing the Guru's seva, by serving the Guru will take us through these experiences where we can get to this state of Sach Sahaj. And then Mana Nirmal, then the mind becomes pure. The mind is no longer weaving its web and getting caught in its own web. It becomes totally pure, and we merge into that Sach. We see ourselves. We no longer cling to our light or fight our own shadow. We merge into a vision of life where these polarities stop existing, and we're with the oneness of it all and accepting that oneness and flowing with it, with the oneness. And in the next line, the Guru says, Guru Seve so buja bai. So if you just serve the Guru, okay, don't try and figure it out on your own. Go to the Gurdwara, mata take, put your arc line at the feet of the Guru, connect with the Guru's subtle and radiant body, and just say, I'm here to serve you, whatever you need. And the Guru will ask you to do things, put you in situations, and guide you in your life. And through that service, this understanding, this is the blessing and the benefit of serving the Guru, the understanding, the deep understanding of that non-dualistic identity in the universe and in you is the thing that you get back. And without the Guru, there's no way to have that experience. So the rest of the hukam continues on this theme in many ways, talking about duality, talking about without the Guru you can't find the experience, talking about how Maya kind of has wrapped us all in a bunch of knots, and we're caught in doubt, and you know, this is kind of our condition. And then a little bit later in the hukam, the Guru talks about Gur Miliya Bao Manavase Bai Beh Marana Such a Lake. And by meeting with the Guru, by intermingling yourself with the sound current of the Shabad, you actually become, and the word is gets translated as fearful, but it doesn't mean fear in a negative way. It means deeply reverential and respectful. So by serving the Guru, meeting the Guru, this tremendous reverence for your condition as a human being, for the play of the universe, the one who's created it all, this tremendous reverence comes to live within your own mind. And when you can die in that state of reverence, then it's written that you will experience and merge into the Such. So, you know, it's not that, hey, I have this to-do list of spiritual rituals and I've got this to-do list of all the things that are right, and if I just tick off my list, here I go, I'm gonna win, I'm going to a better place when I leave the body. No, it's by serving the Guru and letting the Guru's service take you to the place of experiencing the essence of your own identity. And in that, allowing a tremendous reverence for life and the play of the Creator to arise in you. And dying in that place of reverence is what brings you into the experience of Sachkhand and allows you to merge. And of course, the way that we access the Guru is through meditating on the Shabad of the Guru, and not just speaking it and reciting it, but Kare Vichar, that you have to engage the Shabad in dialogue with your own mind and your own soul, wrestle with what the Guru is saying until you can understand it yourself. And this is the blessing that comes to us. Nanak says this is the blessing that comes. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.